Howdy Monkians, it's E-Monk here, and today we are going over the hyena top part. This is going to be split into two video series because it's pretty long, so I'm sorry for the lengthy video, but there's quite a lot that goes into these little adorable little costumes. And I made both of these for my 3 and 4-year-old daughter to give you an idea of age and size-wise. They're both true to size, custom made just for them. So that way, you can also create your own bud and loo. And this is all thrifted, so that's even better. It was actually pretty cheap. It only cost $35 for both costumes. Alright, let's get started. First, you're going to need Rit dye more, or at least in my case I did. You might find some pink fur, but I did not. So, I got some synthetic Rit dye more dye. Use a boiling pot of water. And make sure that this is going to be stuff that you're not going to be cooking in. And you pour both of them in, and you make sure to dampen your fur first before you put it in this water. For some reason it helps stick to the dye. But yeah, just make sure you use equipment you're not going to use, and it will dye your stove some, so make sure you clean it extremely well. And after you... I lost my train of thought. After you rinse them, and make sure you pre-wash this fabric too. I found this literally at a thrift store. It was just a bunch of patches of fur, which works perfectly for my case. And you could possibly find it at a thrift store as well. But that's what I did. I got it for like 50 cents. Yeah, see? And you just dump it in there. It's a tannish, yellowish type. So that's what it looked like. And then I stuck it in here and I cooked it for 30 minutes, constantly stirring it. I let it sit occasionally, but not often. Yeah, see, I tell you, they're 30 minutes because you want this as pigmented as possible. And once it is finished, yeah, see, it looks like it's going to tear apart, but it won't. I promise it won't. And after it finishes, you want to dump out the water, rinse your fabric extremely well, and then put it in the washer. Use clear detergent of some type. I use baby detergent, but use clear detergent and hot water, and you'll get this result. And I air dried it too, because I didn't want to mess up the fur. Even though it's going to mess it up a little bit, make it a little bit knotted, because you did just dye synthetic fur. It's not real. It's going to tangle up. Then I just cut it in half, because this is obviously too big of a square block for me. So I cut it in half. And then after I cut it in half, I unfurl it. And then I measure about how much I'm going to need per, like, child. Because for my 4-year-old, her measurement was obviously going to be a tad bit bigger because her hood had to be a tad bit bigger. So I just use these two ones here, and I'm fluffing up the fur so I can try to get a good looking mohawk, because Bud's is extremely light hot pink, but I like the dark hot pink. I think it turned out better personally. And then you just have an extra set of fur in my case. And once you finish with that, go ahead and get your green fur out. I didn't have to dye this one. You might have to in your case, but I didn't. This is literally a beard from St. Patty's Day. I used 2 beards. So, and I just cut it for a straight line. And see, I'm pushing all the fur one way and getting all the excess, because this is a messy process. I do not suggest doing this on carpet. I should have done it on my hard floor when cutting this type of fabric, but I didn't know at the time, so it's okay. But yeah, this is one cheap way to get fur, or at least hyena fur, because hers is nice and tamed, and yeah, Bud's is so not tamed. But it's okay, because I wanted them to show some difference too. But yeah, that's what I suggest for this little project. Get yourself a St. Patty's Day beard. It works out perfectly. Alright, now after all the fur business, you're going to get your 2 sweaters. This is going to be the liner of your outfit, to give you an idea. And I cut off the hood, and then I cut off the arms, and then I cut off the shoulders, I believe. And I also cut it in half. You're going to use all of these parts later, so make sure you keep it. And if you end up having 2 hyenas, do it twice. But to help with the cutting part of this, just follow the seam line as close as possible. You can also seam rip it, but I cut it because I'm lazy. Oh yeah. And then I got this fur coat. Thrifted, of course. I got it for 10 bucks at a thrift store. Perfect for fur. Yes, it's a cheetah coat. I am aware of that. But it works perfect for hyena spots. Because when I was looking at Bud and Lou, they do have spots. Granted, it's not as pronounced as this, but it works just the same for African hyena types, which is what they are. So just to give you a little bit of research, because I was iffy about this, but this fur is perfect. Now, as I'm cutting all these out, I'm going to tell you now, I forgot to record myself sewing all these pieces together, but as you see from what I'm cutting, that's exactly how you're going to sew it. And if you end up using a coat like I did, cut off all the liner and the excess fabric, because you don't need that. This will give you more ways to make the fabric more movable, so that way you can actually use it and sew it a lot easier. And I used a, what is that thing called? It's a type for synthetic leather type. I used a walking foot mostly, and a leather type of needle, and it's just a basic beginner sewing machine, just to give you an idea that you can do this. Just be very cautious and make sure you clean your machine 5 million times like I had to do if you're going to use a basic sewing machine. But yeah, see where I'm getting all the knots and everything out? Because it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be showing this side, because the outside is what you're going to see. And here I'm showing you how it would look. And that was the front piece. Now we're going to start cutting the back piece. And you just continue just like that from there. And do it twice. Sorry you're getting belly shots. That tends to happen whenever I sew. I can't help it. You know how it is. It's okay. But yeah, cut around there. And I would give it about, since this is not stretchy fabric, what I'm cutting is not stretchy whatsoever, you want to give it at least an inch of seam allowance if you can spare it. Now, I was able to have a little bit of fur left over from this coat, but I was able to cut both of my 3- and 4-year-olds' costumes out of this, to give you an idea how much fabric this took. One, I think it was a large size coat, equals a 3- and 4-year-old put together. So, yeah, and that's what it looks like finished. That's the zipper. That's for my 4-year-old. And then that's for my 3-year-old. She got the button option. I wanted to use brown because it would have complemented it a lot better, and it helps it blend a lot better, personally, in my opinion. But, yeah, you just sew it. That's really it. And you can leave showing. And also use a zigzag stitch. That's what I did. It was the easiest, in my opinion. And then here, I'm going to show you how to do the hood. And that's what it looks like finished. At least I got this part down, so that way y'all can actually see how you're going to have to sew this. And that's me showing you the finished product of the actual top. That was technically the hardest part. Doing the hood, not that bad. Now, when you're going to do this hood, get out whatever excess fabric you have, because here I was stretched for fabric. So you want to make sure you cut this perfectly, especially if you have to make 2 hoods. And I end up using, like you see, kind of like the armpit of the jacket. And I end up spreading out the hood, see, just like that. And then I cut it. And then you're going to have to end up sewing it twice, most likely, because obviously with this type of fabric, it wasn't already pre-put together. So finding the perfect spot is a little hard, but you're wanting to make sure you got plenty of it left. And see, I happen to found this scrap that might actually work for my kid's hood. And this is where I decided to leave the edges. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I know this could fit one of them. See? Like that. And I could just trim it to what I need it to be. No problem. And that's literally all you do. So I'm going to time-lapse this, make it a lot faster. So that way you can actually see how this is going to work. And here we go. Super fast E-Monk. But yeah. See, I end up going back to the armpit. But that was just to give you an idea of what I was thinking as far as scraps of fabric. Literally scrunch together whatever you get. And cut. And cut some more. And get some more fur all over your carpet, because you were not smart enough to actually do it on your hardwood floor. And cut off the liner. See, it's the same process as the rest of it. So, I mean, this is just repeated, redundant stuff. But as you can see, it took me a couple of days to make these. But, yeah. And then I'll show you how to pin it in the next spot. But for now, enjoy time-lapse of cutting. And make sure you do an inch around, all the way around, if you want it to look really nice. And yeah, do this 3 more times. Very tedious work. Ugh. Alrighty, now the goody goody gumdrop stuff. Now we're actually gonna pin this to the hood. And what I did first, I believed, I didn't get this on camera, but I sewed the 2 pieces together because it's a lot easier to do this if you do that. And then I did this. Yeah, that's what I did because I didn't get to film that. But yeah, once you sew the 2 pieces together, you're going to sew it to the hood now. And see where I'm pinning it? You just literally pin it on the edge and just go all the way around. That's really all you do. And then you sew the edges down. I use zigzag stitch throughout this entire process, like the strong zigzag stitch stuff. But that's a lot. But yeah, and I used brown thread, I believe. I don't think I used black because I wanted it to blend, so I used brown, which I almost ran out quite a lot. Thank you, Dante. But yeah, just pin it all the way around. And you want to pin the lining. You're basically doing the lining first before we attach it to the hood. I know a lot of people say you should have the lining last, but this is the way I did it because I wanted it to create a seamless line. I didn't want to have lines on it all of a sudden if I do it the other way. You get what I mean? If that makes sense? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, see? And you just sew it all the way down. You're going to sew it all. Because in the long run, this is going to end up attaching to your hood, and you got to do this twice. Well, you might have to do this twice. You might not have 2 kids like I do, but 2 of something if you're ending up doing this, or you don't have to. That's really up to you. You can even do this for a dog, even. So, or a cat, if a cat will let you dress it up. Just to give you ideas, you can actually do it to your actual pets. So, and they're, in most cases, they're smaller than children. Not all cases, because you might have a huge dog. But now I'm just rambling. I'm sorry. I tend to get on these rants whenever I'm actually recording this stuff, and it's all like, oh, I just want to sit here and talk. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop doing that now. Let's get back to the tutorial, shall we? Oh, man. Alrighty. Next clip should show you that we are going to sew all along that line, like I just said a minute ago. And voila! It is sewn. It is so pretty. And I didn't sew the bottom yet, apparently. Now I'm telling you to sew the bottom. So, sew the bottom. And make sure you do that to both of them, because I bet you I'm going to show you that here in a second. Hey, look at that! It's done! Wow, magic! If only it was that easy. But yeah, there you go. That's what a hood looks like. Ain't it amazing? Oh, man. And here, I'll show you the second one while we're at it. I ended up using the edges because I didn't have enough. That and it looked cute with the edge. So, a little bit of difference. Alrighty. Now, let's get on to making the ears. First, you gotta pick a spot that you think the ears will fit best in. I think I did about 2 to 3 inches away from the seam at the top. That's about what I did. Because hyena's ears are pretty close together because they have that mohawk in the middle. So you want to leave enough room for the mohawk, but you want to make sure that the ears are spaced out enough, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'll show you this entire process of making it. Just pinning it is the first little lesson. And you want to do that to both. And remember, you got to do this twice. And these are actually the sleeves from the shirt. Those look familiar? You're going to cut them into pieces because they're going to become the lining for our ears. See why I kept the lining the same? Alright, this is called interface foam, I believe. Yes, it is. It's interface foam. It's the thick type. You'll see it in some future videos. I was about to say you've seen it in some videos, but I don't think you actually have yet. You might have. I don't think so, though. But you will in the future. You're going to see this foam a lot because I fell in love with it. And it's decently cheap, and it works amazing for this type of stuff. It stiffens it a little, but it gives it that padded look that you're always looking for ears, for coats, anything like that. And it's flexible. That's the best thing about it. I love this stuff to death. But anyway, you're going to cut out some triangle pieces. You're going to cut out 4 of them. Now, the problem I did with these is that hyena's ears aren't exactly fully triangle. They do oval at the top, and that's where I messed up. So if you want, make sure to oval it out at the top. I think I end up trying to fix it later, but I ended up saying screw it. But technically, it's ovaled out at the top. So if you want to get technical as far as what a hyena looks like, oval out instead of pointed, if that makes sense. But yeah, you just cut right along the sleeve, because this is literally going to create a pocket for it. Yeah, see, I cut it, which, now that I'm thinking about it, I could have just stuck it right in there, but it's me, though. But yeah, see, 1 for each ear, and then you're going to do it again. You didn't recognize this process? This is why it took so long, because you got to do it twice. And then you're going to cut a little slit again. And to measure this, whenever I cut out the triangles, I just literally put it up to the fabric and cut a little bit around it, but that fabric was mostly stretchy. This is where, yeah, you're going to have to take your stretchy fabric and then do an inch out from that. A couple of inches probably, because they show the back of it with the spots. Because this is technically your liner for your ears. You know, like how cats, a lot of people draw them with pink on the inside? Yeah, this is basically what we're doing, except it's going to be brown. We're making the ears, making it fluff. Yeah, see? I tried to round it out then because I realized that I messed up. In here, I'll zoom in and help you out here because I'm a horrible camera person, apparently. Wow. Good job, E-Monk. It's not even in the shot. Good job. Yeah, see? See how it's rounded out more? It's because I'm a doofus and I forgot. But yeah, it worked out in the long run. So, in case you're curious. Alright, now we get to sandwich it. Alright, put the foam, then the liner, and then the wrong side of the fabric. And then you're going to use the wrong side of the fabric. You see how big it is? Yeah, like I said, 2 to 3 inches outwards. And you're going to fold it along there and pin it, because you're going to top stitch. Woohoo! Top stitching! Everybody loves top stitching. Not really. Yeah, see? You see how I'm trying to do it? But I'm having complications. It's because it's such a tiny piece that this is agitating. But it's okay, because we're going to get through it. But basically, once you get it in the perfect spot, pin it all the way around and sew it up. And then I'll show you how to attach it. So, yeah. See? It's not that bad. Could be a lot worse. Now, if I was to go back and redo this, now that I've done this, what I would have done, if you want to attempt my spoken word, is instead of doing it this is the simple, easy way. But if I wanted to make it to where you couldn't see my stitching, what I would do is I would sew along inside out and then flip it and then stuff the padding in there, then close it off. That's what I would have done. But I didn't do that in this case because I didn't know that then. But we all have to learn. So, tutorial for myself. So if you understood that, you can try that. Or you can do like I did. It still looked good either way. That's just a little tip in case you're the type that tries not to show your seams, which I'm trying to get better at that. So just give you a little hint. But yeah, the little holes you made earlier with your pins, you're going to pull the hood out and you're going to cut a slit. And you're going to put your ears in the slit. And then you're going to sew it down. And then your sewing machine's going to hate you for it. And then you're going to fight with it for a little bit. But then it'll be okay. Yeah, see? And I'm pinning it down to try to help hold it in place. So you want to try to make this fabric as thin as possible, even though that's a little hard because, you know, this type of fabric tends to be thick regardless. But you don't want to poke a hole in your liner. That's how I got past that, is pulling it out and doing it this way. So, yeah. But they look really cute, if that counts for anything. But you don't want to make the slit too big because then you're going to have a hole. I did that, I think it was on that ear. And I think that's why I was having such problems with it. And I ended up having to sew it extra, which was not good. You want to make the holes tinier than what your actual ear is if you want it to hold it in properly. So, that is my suggestion. Oh, no, I was wrong. Yeah, it was the right ear. I'm looking at it. Wow. Wow, E-Monk. What are you talking about? You're babbling again. Oh, Lord. But yeah, do that. And that's the other ears. And that's showing it sewn. And here they are. All sewn on. All nice and pretty. Then you just push your hood back in. And voila. Now you have cute little ears. I was so proud of myself. And I did it to both of them. Now here comes the fun part. More fur! Let's put on some mohawks, shall we? Yay. Alrighty. Now here comes the even more fun part. You're going to pull that back out again. And then you're going to fold over as best as you can your fabric that you dyed or that you used a beard or wherever you got it from. Now you're going to pin it, yeah, like that, onto the hump. Because their mohawk starts after, like, right before their ears, I believe. Is it right before their ears? Because I believe it is. And then it goes down all the way to the middle of their back. I didn't do that in this case. I only did it to the hood. But that's because if it went all the way down to my kid's back, it would have taken up over half the shirt, and I thought the design would have looked a little odd, so yeah. I did it this way instead. But, yes. No, sorry, I almost yawned her. I saved it! Yeah, I'm pulling away all the fur from where I had to trim it. And yeah, now you're gonna pin it. And I'm timing myself. I don't know why I have to time myself for this stuff. But pin it all the way down, and then you're gonna sew it. And you might have to use a couple strands of it, but you're just basically top stitching this sucker on there. And it's hard. It's gonna be really hard. Your machine hates you more than ever now. And I had to clean my machine 10 times while doing this project. And that is a pain on its own. And this is just like the surface cleaning and the bare minimum cleaning without actually taking the full thing apart. I ended up getting it serviced later on and stuff, so now it's running like it's brand new again. But yeah, you're not supposed to do that with my type of machine, which is a basic starter machine, but I did it anyway, and I have been doing it. I found out you can do it as long as you have certain extensions and as long as you take full care of it. But I'm rambling again. I am so sorry. I noticed that I ramble way too much in these videos, but you don't want the mohawk to go too far down. Like you see, I have some space. That's simply because we're going to be attaching this to the hood, and you do not want that mohawk caught up in that, the shoulder connecting to the hood. It is bad news bears. Don't do it. See? You see how I left some room at the bottom? You want that. Trust me. Look at me. So proud. Good job, little emo. You did such a good job. Refluffing the hair, even though it don't really matter at this point right now, because, yeah, you could keep trying all you want, emo. It's not happening, but alright. Yeah, that's the hair. The beard was a lot easier, but that's because it's less fur, but it falls apart a lot faster because it's cheap. So keep that in mind. And I should show you the green mohawk too, because I sewed it on first, I believe. Oh, nope. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to be out of focus instead. I'm going to show you how to attach this thing. Yeah, let's do that. Alright. Now that we have some space from where we did not sew the mohawk onto the bottom of it, now, get away. Get out of there. I cut the shoulders. You might not have to in this case, because my 3-year-olds, I didn't have to. But I have to for this one, just to stretch it out properly because of the way the original coat was designed for this one specifically. So I had to cut the shoulders because it was just a thin strap anyway for the hood to fit properly. But anyway, you're going to pin the hood to it, and you're going to line it up, and then make sure you trim wherever possible after you've sewn it on. That way it's a nice clean cut and you don't have to worry about it irritating whoever's going to be wearing it. Trust me. But yes, and I do warn you, my kids didn't seem to complain, but I'm pretty sure it gets decently hot. I mean, it was an April convention. There wasn't really AC in there. So they got decently hot, but we gave them water breaks and things like that, and my kids are well aware to tell me if something's up, but they were just too happy to wear the costumes that they didn't care. They are natural furries, apparently. But sew that down, use it in zigzag stitch, and this is your final product. Yay! Yay! Good job! Now you're finished. I will see y'all in the next video. Don't forget to watch the rest so you can see a cool little outro. I'll see you next time. Happy cosplaying, guys. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Love ya. Bye! Thank you to all of my Patreon supporters for making this video possible. To become a Patreon supporter, go to www.patreon.com/emunk. See you there!